We have swallowed all manner of poisonous certainties fed us by our parents and school teachers. If the race is to be freed from its crippling burden of good and evil, it must be psychiatrists who take the original responsibility.
Заявление Брока Чисхолма определило характер атаки психиатров на нашу школьную систему.
They actually said that the purpose was social control, not to pass on knowledge, not to give him something so that he can go into the world of work.
В 1950 году психиатры и психологи со всего мира собрались в Белом доме с предложением полностью переориентировать школьную систему.
The White House Conference on Mental Health in the 1950s was a landmark that served to bolster the idea that schools would serve their communities better as mental health clinics than they would as institutions of learning.
In the early 60s, the world of psychiatry started to really go places in this country. Little by little, it came into our schools, our educational system.
И к 1965 году это приобрело форму закона. Психиатры получили добро на массовое диагностирование школьников и пичкание их препаратами.
A child is labeled ADD or ADHD the minute he can't sit still for a 10-15 minute period of time, or he talks constantly, or ignores the teacher completely. That will get him and earn him an ADD or ADHD label.
Постановка диагноза «синдром дефицита внимания и гиперактивности» СДВГ пошла полным ходом в 1987 году. Всего за один год диагноз СДВГ был поставлен 500 000 американских детей. К 1997 году это число выросло почти до 4,5 миллионов. В ответ на тревогу общественности по поводу этой эпидемии Национальные институты здоровья, финансируемые правительством США, созвали комиссию из видных врачей и психиатров, чтобы разъяснить родителям и педагогам, что такое СДВГ.
I would like any member of the panel to describe a typical ADHD in terms of symptomatology. Mark, would you like to? Since you see them in your practice.
I think the panel has been frank, and the difficulties here are immense in terms of these. It is hard. It's very hard to know how to answer this question. They cannot, even when. They are as if driven by a motive. There are some good clinical descriptions. And I think, I think the part of the problem is the profession keeps changing the diagnosis.
At this time, we do not have a diagnostic test for ADHD. Therefore, the validity of the disorder continues to be a problem.
Однако это шокирующее признание не остановило школьных психиатров. 2 года спустя число американских школьников с диагнозом СДВГ достигло отметки 6 миллионов. Сегодня 20 миллионов детей в мире имеют тот или иной психиатрический диагноз. Зачастую постановка диагноза занимает всего несколько минут.
We would sit behind a two-way mirror along with the parents. We would then look at the child. We would do small manipulative activities with them to see where their deficit was. It was wrong what we were doing. We were looking at a 5-minute glimpse of this child's life and saying, okay, here you go. Here's a little pill, take it, you'll be fine.
Эти маленькие таблеточки, вроде риталина, адералла и концерты, отнесены управлением по борьбе с наркотиками США к категории веществ, вызывающих наркотическую зависимость вместе с кокаином и метамфетамином.
When I was on the Ritalin, it made me just feel like totally different, like I wasn't even who I was.
I was, you know, flipping out, was twitching, you know, going crazy.
I felt like I was out of it all the time, like I wasn't there, I wasn't human.
You're just a zombie, pretty much. Not, you know, you do what you can just to get by and just don't do anything extra.
My mother never teased me, but she thought I really had ADHD and I was wrong, and I had something wrong with me. So I thought she'd feel bad and feel sorry for me if I died. But then again, I thought that she would miss me a lot, and I also love her a little more than I wanted to kill myself. And so I stopped when I realized that.
Обилие назначенных по рецепту препаратов дало детям новый источник дохода. Они продают свои таблетки школьным товарищам.
It's called kitty cocaine. They take the Ritalin and they just repackage it and they sell it on campus to the kids because it's like speed.
I figured like if I was going to do drugs, I might as well make it worth it. And I ended up doing street drugs and then I ended up getting into it really bad.
We're looking at marijuana and other things as being gateway drugs, and actually the so-called medications are a greater gateway drug.
The Ritalin drugs are backfiring big time because if the child is already disruptive and he takes cocaine, he's going to be a lot more disruptive after he's taken it. It is not going to calm him down.
Boom, she got on the drugs and her personality changed, her behaviors changed, they became erratic and dark and violent, and it was just a nightmare.
He kept having adverse reactions, becoming very, very angry. He could not control his behavior, he couldn't control his temper.
He was on 5 different psych meds, Prozac and lithium, and he was 7 years old. And he was unable to function. He would have rages and then crying and all kinds of just violent rages, grabbing knives and all of this.
The list includes 15-year-old Kip Kinkle withdrawing from Prozac when he shot 22 classmates, killing 2 after murdering his mother and stepfather at his home in Springfield, Oregon. 18-year-old Jason Hoffman on Effexor and Celexa when he opened fire at his California high school, wounding 5. 15-year-old Sean Cooper on a mix of antidepressants when he shot students in Idaho. And 17-year-old Eric Harris on Luvox when he and partner Dylan Klebold killed 12 classmates and a teacher in the bloodiest school massacre yet, Columbine.
За этим вообще теряется изначальная цель, ради которой дети ходят в школу – получение образования. С 70-го года Америка опустилась по академической успеваемости с 9-го места в мире на 26-е. За тот же период стремительно выросло число американских школьников с диагнозом «учебное расстройство». А продажи препаратов от СДВГ увеличились в 118 раз.
Children don't ask for psychiatric drugs. Children don't ask to be diagnosed. They don't want to be called crazy. So you ask the classic Roman question, legal question, cui bono, who benefits? The people who make the diagnosis.